Good evening, YouTube. Home Theater Joe here, and I just wanted to do a quick video running through some user menu settings, some options that I use, as well as maybe we'll get into some service menu settings, just again very briefly, as well as some Xbox settings. So hopefully this will be relevant for some of the questions and topics I'm seeing in the comments section. Let me take this opportunity to say that I greatly appreciate you guys that are commenting, that are interacting on the videos. I've been a little bit slow to the party, but hey, that's kind of what this video here is about, is you know, we want to bounce off of each other and you know, try to answer as many of your questions as I can. So one of the questions that has come up in the comment section is about your OLED screen dimming during calibration. And this can and will be a big problem if it happens, because it's going to throw your measurements all off. So one of the ways we're going to avoid this is we're going to go over here to all settings in our user menu. We're going to hit all settings, right up here to picture, OLED screensaver. Boom. I'm going to hit that. Now I'm in gallery mode right now, so it's not going to allow me to turn off screen shift. But you would want to turn this off pre-calibration. As well, go down here to logo luminance, turn that off. You want both of these things off pre-calibration. That will help the display. That will help the display keep from going into dimming, as well as having your service remote, but we'll get to that here in just a minute. We're going to skip around a little bit. So now I want to get to two questions kind of at one time. We have had the color banding issue come up in the comments section in reference to the Xbox Series X. I myself do not own the Series X. I own the Xbox One X. As far as I can see, the OS on the systems are exactly the same. The Series X obviously has a little more juice. Uh-oh, I don't think I plugged in my Xbox. Let me see here. I have a habit of turning on the Xbox because it will get so warm. Where did that power cord go? Uh-oh. Okay, well, we lost our Xbox power cord. Where did it go? Is that it? No. Oh, wait a minute. Fortunately for me, where is it? It's right here. Okay. So, I actually labeled my power with the wire labels because I started messing with the Xbox and really the rack here so much that it was kind of silly to remember what cord went where. So I actually just remembered that. So these cords are labeled. That's maybe a useful little tip for you. Let me get back over here, and again, we'll try to get back on track, and I'll try to tackle two birds with one stone. As you all know, I run all my video directly to the display because why not? The LG CX can more than handle whatever you're going to throw at it. Where was I before that little debacle? I don't really recall. So we're just going to go back and play on the 2 points I want to make here. Oh yes, so we're talking about OSs. They're virtually the same. The Xbox Series X is, of course, going to be able to, you know, have an advantage hardware-wise, game-wise. Let's see here. Let's, how do we get to our settings? So the color banding issue did pop up, and color banding, for those that may not be aware, you know, that's typically a 10, or excuse me, an 8-bit issue. All right. So as we can see here, I'm set at 10 bits, right? And my color space is standard. All that's fine and dandy, exactly what it should be. I actually, because I have the 1X, I run at 1440p because I want to achieve 120 hertz frame rate. Now, I can't be positive of this, but I know this is how it works with the Series X. Because I've told the console that we're running at 120 hertz, that's the signal it's kicking out to the display. So the display recognizes 120 hertz, and it can, the latency can be dropped a little bit lower. Now, I'm not for sure that's how it works on the 1X, but seeing as how that's how it works on the Series X, I'm just going to go ahead and assume, which is bad as that is, but let's just keep all these settings in mind, okay? That's beautiful, right? All right, well, let's go over here and kick on Call of Duty. Now, why am I talking about this stuff? Because I want to talk about the color banding in 8-bit. So I know for sure that this console, if you look right up there in the corner, well, it just disappeared. We're at YCBCR 422, okay, which is better than 420, right? But we're only at 8 bits a lane. All right, that's the important thing to see here. 8 bits a lane. So no matter what display you have, no matter how good it is, when the game here is only kicking out at 8 bits, again, I cannot speak to the Xbox One X. I do not know that. I don't own that system. I'm sure that the information's out there if you're willing to dig a little bit. But I can tell you for sure that my display says I'm fixed at 60 hertz, which I'm sure is correct. That's what the console is telling the display. It's also only feeding the display 8 bits a lane. So that's where color banding is really going to come into play. This question was brought up, and I just want to make sure that we're aware that the Xbox settings themselves can really affect what the display is doing. So at 8 bits, this display is going to show some banding. You know, any display is. I don't care if it's an OLED, LED, you know, mini LED, whatever. 8 bits, not very good for color volume. Okay, so if this game, the newest game in the Call of Duty series, would run at 10 bits on this panel, then I wouldn't have any kind of banding issue or seeing that. So having said all that, let's go right here into our picture settings, because this kind of will give us right into our next question about, you know, my picture settings. Now, let's keep in mind that this display has been calibrated, but it's very important to know. I want to see here. You see, I have calibrated this mode here. All right. I kept it at medium. I kept everything the way it was, even the color at 55. And during calibration, it wants to kick the color down to 50. Standard out of the box, the color wants to be 55. Now, sharpness can be debated. LG sets the sharpness at 10. That's where it begins to introduce artifacting. All right? So I think 10 is acceptable, or you can go with 0. But anything more than 10, you're going to introduce artifacts. And what I mean by that is, like, you're going to see more things around edges. They may even look blurrier around edges because it's the display trying to fill in content that isn't there. One of the reasons, why am I saying all this? Because the display out of the box, even though my display has been calibrated, we all know this, the display out of the box is very, very accurate. As close to accurate as you're going to get. So whatever picture mode you have, if you haven't calibrated your display, your system, which for me, my delta error, my average delta error before calibration was like around 8 or 9, and the max was around, I don't know, 13 or 15, something like that. That was out of the box, never been calibrated. And what I learned after the measurements were corrected is that the display was so close to what it could have been before calibration that no matter what I did to it, like say kicking the color up to 60 or moving a tint or whatever, which I really tended not to do, then you're straying away from the accuracy of the TV. Whatever settings you have, you know, whatever this is out of the box, leave it there. They are more close to, now this obviously, everybody's going to see things differently, but I can assure you, out of the box, you really don't need to mess with the presets. And especially in game mode, whether you're in SDR or HDR game mode, most of the processing is turned off. So when I see questions about banding, the first thing that pops into my mind is what signal is the console kicking out to the display. That has a lot to do with it. So I think that kind of covers really quickly. Oh wait, service menu. Hang on. Okay, let me make a trip right back over here to my media closet. All right. If you have access to a service menu, pre-calibration, you're going to want to hit your Instart button 0413, and you're going to want to go, oh look, there it is, the infamous NG. 0, whatever you want to call it. Oh, it's so terrible looking, isn't it? All right. So TPC enable, turn that off. Boom. GSR enable, turn that off. This will automatically, like your TV will not dim, period, in this mode. But you better be careful, man, because if you don't turn that back on, you're gonna have problems. And to be honest with you, I no longer go into the service mode and turn this on or off because now I'm calibrating different than I was months ago. So I don't even really give my display a chance to dim. The OLED is resilient, y'all. You're not gonna, I have run countless hours, you know, not countless, maybe around 80 hours of calibration on display. And believe you me, I've run 3-4 calibration hours in a row. Okay, and never hurt the display. So, just to recap, you know, you need to make sure pre-calibration, you're telling the screen not to dim through those two methods I showed. When you get into the actual Calman Home program itself, there are some settings that I highlighted in the last video, but I'm going to go over those again in HDR, and we're going to go over those again and make sure that you know that this will also help your display or keep your display from going into that dimming mode, because if that happens, all your measurements are thrown off. So all the work you've done up until then, all the measurements you've taken, all the calculations has happened is right out the window. Also, please feel free, please remember that you can check whatever that Xbox is in. Sorry, that's my little guy here going outside. You're okay, buddy. Whatever you know, you're on your Xbox or your PlayStation, if you just toggle the green button, okay, the green button on your remote, you toggle that thing a bunch of times, and it's going to show you exactly what your frame rate is, and it's going to show you, you know, what kind of signal is being sent to the display, whether it be 444, 442, 422, and all of that has to do with color depth, bit depth. Again, is it 8-bit or 10-bit? And guys, forget about 12-bit. There's not a panel out here that does 12-bit, and there's not going to be one that does 12-bit for quite some time. Until we're mastering, until we have displays that can show content mastered between 4,000 and 10,000 nits, the extreme Dolby Vision, that's 12-bit. So I just don't think that's coming anytime soon. Forget about that. Don't ever set your panel to 12-bit through your Xbox console. Just make sure you're really double checking what your Xbox console is telling your display to do. That's another message for the video. Look guys, I feel like this has been going a little long, man. But I do want to say, I don't recall if I said this, but I want to make sure I say that I appreciate the comments, the interaction, you know, and it's pretty cool. So I appreciate that. I hope this video helps. Be on the lookout because calibration series part 3, I think we're on. HDR calibration mode is next to come in that series. As always, thank y'all for listening. Be good. Be safe. Boom.